Welcome to this video about the Whisper API from OpenAI. I want to show you the basic usage of Whisper, its response formats, how you can correct spelling with a prompt, estimating costs, and working with longer inputs. At the end, there's a summary and outlook. Let's go. If you want to use the Whisper API, you of course have to have an audio file. I have a speech example audio file here.
Today is a wonderful day to build something people love.
Okay, that's nice and easy. And I at first start with instantiating the client. So that's it. And then I save the file name. And also have a variable for the transcription. Okay, and then the file is opened with a context manager, and let's call it audio file. The OpenAI API returns a transcription, so we call it also transcription, and the actual endpoint is client audio transcriptions and create to create a transcription. We pass an audio file, but the actual parameter is called file, and we also pass a model. At the moment, the only available model is Whisper 1, but don't get confused with it. Whisper 1 actually refers to Whisper 2, or even Whisper 2 Large, I think. Maybe they update it later on, but at the moment the latest version we can use is Whisper 2. Let's try if it works. Okay, and then print what we've got. Transcription. Okay, today is a wonderful day to build something people love. You see that we get a transcription object back. The actual response is in the text attribute. So let's put out just the text. You will see that OpenAI, the Whisper API, automatically detects the language. It is quite good at it, but especially with very short audio files, you can sometimes get errors when you don't use English. To avoid those errors, you can set the language parameter. In this case, it's English, but let's set it for good measure. And you have to use just en and not the longer form. So this still works. You can see it even translates out of the box, but I think the translation may be better with a post-processing step. If you want to know what languages are supported, you can look at the model website, and here you can also see the performance for each of the languages, and also the large V3 model, which is the newer one, is also shown here. So smaller is better, and you can see German should be really quite well supported, for example. The output format in this case was JSON. This is the default format. There are other options for output format, which are text, SRT, VTT, I think, and verbose JSON. Only JSON and verbose JSON are returned as a transcription object. The other variants are just returned as text. Let's look at some examples. Put it back to English and then say response format equals JSON. This is the default. Let's have a look at text. Then you of course just return it, turns it into a string. Then we have the SRT format. It's also type string. And here you can see the timestamps and VTT. also with timestamps. And finally, verbose JSON, which again returns a transcription. And to get the JSON in a nice format, we can use the model dump JSON. Very good. Model dump JSON is a method from Pydantic, and as the transcription is a type of Pydantic model, we can use this as well. So we can also use the indent to make it look a bit nicer, and then we get a nice detailed return. And you can see here also the tokens and which language it is transcribed to, and all the segments are also returned. Sometimes Whisper has problems with the spelling. For example,
Hello, my name is Mitcha.
This is my name, and let's see how Whisper spells it. As you can see, my name is spelled not correctly. We can improve this by adding a prompt to the call to the API. And in this prompt, I just give my name in a correct spelling. And now the spelling is correct. The prompt can be up to 244 token, and if you even need better reliability, you can use a post-processing step with GPT-4, for example. Now let's look at estimating costs. The costs for the Whisper API is counted by the length of the audio file in minutes. So to estimate the costs before we send it to the API, we need to get the duration of the audio file. We can use a Python library called AudioRead for this. And I like to count in decimals because that's a bit more precise. $0.06 for 10 minutes. The Whisper API supports audio files of up to 25 megabyte in size. If you want to transcribe larger audio files, you need to split them into pieces. Let's do that. I like to use the PyDub package to work with audio files. That's correct, because it's more than 10 minutes long, but less than 12 minutes. Then let's transcribe it. It took quite long, but it worked. So let's look at what we have. Okay, here's it. First segment, let's create a chat web application and so on and so on. The greet function returns a single string. Outputs is initialized with a single text plot. I think that's not as good as it could be. Okay, this looks nice, except for this punctuation here. Okay, here's something missing, I think. A waiting state. Okay, and here as well, we have entries as user or system messages to the messages list. So this is not as good as it could be. To improve the quality of the continuations, you can use a prompt. For example, include into the prompt the ending of the previous segment. And if you do a second pass, you could also include the beginning of the following segment, but I don't do this here. Let's just do it with one pass. That's it. And now let's give it a try. Okay, we have a result. Let's see how it looks. Okay. To the message list. This is better. In a waiting state. So the end is not good, but the following segment is good. And outputs is initialized, so this is also good. Here's the punctuation, not good. And yeah, that's it. As you can see, we have now improved the beginnings of each transcription segment. And if you want to improve the endings as well, you need to go through a second pass and add the beginning of the following transcription from the previous pass. Let's go to the summary. I think Whisper is quite easy to use. It can produce text and text with timecode. And the timecodes are on a sentence level. Unfortunately, you don't get timecodes on a word level, but there are some libraries and Whisper on the client side which you can use for that. Longer files need segmentation, and segmentation requires post-processing to improve the quality, especially when one segment goes into the next segment. I also think Whisper is quite inexpensive, especially for not so long audio. If you want to transcribe very long audio, I think looking at a local model or a self-hosted model is better. What I don't like so much about the Whisper API is that it doesn't support streaming. There are some other services that support streaming, and you can have Whisper in a streaming way also when you serve it yourself. As an outlook, I would like to try out Whisper 3 locally and then build a little helper app so that I can use it day to day, for example, as a command line tool or also a small radio interface. Then maybe also improve the solution for the long audio a bit and make an app that makes use of it. So I hope you liked this video. Please leave a comment if you do, and also leave a comment if you think I can improve something. And otherwise, see you in the next lab.